They have goals and results to reach, and how they get there really is their own business.
I'm personally motivated on feedback, on attention, on feeling important.
If I'm part of the decision-making and part of the answer, then I'm going to complete a task with a lot more enthusiasm.
You can accomplish anything.
How do you motivate someone else? Many people feel that motivation comes from within, that it is an inner drive to fulfill a need, to achieve a goal. Granted, a lot of it is internal, but there are still many things you can do to spark others. Motivation is simply defined as establishing an environment which inspires others to perform to the best of their ability, or providing incentives which make the effort seem worthwhile. Hello, I'm Amalia Barreda. Welcome to FYI Video Motivating Others. In this video, we'll look at the needs and aspirations of today's workers. And we will offer a concrete set of guidelines to help you elicit superior performance from them. We'll take a trip to Outward Bound, where corporate managers try their hands and their feet at some unusual exercises that teach them how to motivate themselves and one another. We'll also visit the Shawbell Corporation, a creative band of inventors where everyone is a boss. And we'll tour Bass, the shoe company where employees are regarded as the prime assets. Before we start, let's take a look at a recent survey that may surprise you. Supervisors were asked to rank several motivating factors as they believed their employees would rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 the highest. Supervisors gave good wages a 1 rating, indicating the highest importance, but the workers themselves gave wages a 5. Conversely, supervisors gave interesting work a middling 5 rating as a motivator, whereas employees gave it a 1. And as far as appreciation is concerned, managers gave that criterion a rock-bottom rating of 8, workers a 2. What's the lesson here? Well, the survey clearly shows that many managers are not fully in touch with their employees' needs. It's clear that extrinsic motivators, such as money or a new title, are important. But intrinsic ones are just as significant, if not more so. These are the inner feelings of enjoyment, satisfaction, or self-esteem we gain from working. As a manager, you need to find out what really stimulates your workers. If you're not sure, ask. Once you discover what matters most to your employees, you'll be ready to spur them on to top performance. Now we'd like to introduce you to our first 2 guidelines for motivating others. 1. Make the task clear and doable. Ambiguity and obstacles will knock the foundation out from under even the best workers. Secondly, demonstrate that the task is meaningful. Employees need to know the job is worthwhile to feel pride in their work. Our classroom for these 2 guidelines is Outward Bound, where you'll see a group of managers apply these fundamentals to themselves. Here, the managers are the guinea pigs. Outward Bound. Those 2 words call up images of rugged outdoor activity on the edge of danger, on the precipice between fear and courage. But there are also corporate programs available. This one begins on an island near a major urban center, in a classroom where a group of assistant store managers from Bradley's, the discount department store chain, get a crash course in supervisory techniques. You might call this Outward Bound session Inward Bound, at least at the start.
When we say conflict, what does it suggest to you?
This quickly gives way to field exercises. The blindfolds go on these managers, all of whom are considered strong candidates for promotion, as they try to pass 2 tires through a human chain in opposite directions. Or they try to form a square with a rope.
This one is stuck now, won't go anywhere. That's me, baby, That's me holding it.
Holding hands, they climb across a rope that they pretend is electrified.
One false move and it's back to the start. Or they squeeze through a spider's web of twine without making contact. What's this all about? And what does it have to do with the corporate world? Well, these exercises teach lessons about communication, trust, planning, cooperation, teamwork, taking risks, and especially motivation. And the first rule of motivation is to make the job clear and doable. That means stating the objective, whether you're dealing with a ropes course or writing a memo.
I think that it becomes obvious as people approach a task that it's necessary to figure out what the goal is, and even on occasion redefine the goal, relook at what is the goal, what are we trying to achieve. If the whole group doesn't buy into what the goal is going to be, then it's not going to happen.
Once they define their goal, they work together to establish a plan to reach it, a step which helps everyone understand their role.
I hope they go back and say, we learned the importance of clear planning, everybody buying into the plan, and everybody knowing their part in the plan.
The second rule of motivation is to demonstrate that the task is meaningful. That may seem to be a bit of a stretch here because some of these routines are, well, a little weird. Yet they are merely tools, metaphors for the obstacles you might encounter in the real world.
You can do teamwork things anywhere, and whether it's out on a course jumping over a clothesline suspended from 2 trees, or whether it's in a store with yourself and 3 managers trying to drive sales, all the concepts are the same.
The ropes course sets a problem for us, and we have to solve it using the teamwork and cooperation. We do have that problem at work. You have to reset an entire area, you have to re-merchandise an entire area, you have to solve that you don't have enough people to get the job done, and you need to pull together people as a team to get things done.
The tasks may not seem meaningful in the beginning, just as some assignments in the real world at first seem mundane. But all members of the team learn that their supporting roles, even if they are minimal, help achieve a common end. Outward Bound also teaches people to recognize and expand their limits. Occasionally, the instructors have to resort to a bit of cajolery to get this message across. For instance, this group is a little timid on one of the exercises.
I think the word is cautious.
Cautious.
Super cautious?
Extra super cautious.
Scary!
The actual physical risk at Outward Bound is extremely low, but the perception of risk creates an opportunity for learning. As these 16 individuals come face to face with their limits, they discover hidden reserves of talent and drive that will make them better managers.
You can accomplish anything, whether it's weird, it's strange, it is hard, it's teamwork, it is your enthusiasm, your motivation again. I think all that is needed, and planning.
When they return to their stores in locations ranging from Maine to Pennsylvania, they will know that limits are only a figment of the imagination.
We have had probably 600 people, including some pretty skeptical, pretty long service, and perhaps even some cynical people, participate in this program. And I feel confident in saying, having been out here with most of those people, several hundred people, that the skeptics and the cynics come away from this and go back and translate it into something useful in the workplace.
Let's take a look at some of the key lessons emerging from Outward Bound with the help of our experts. Donna Deeprose is a training consultant and writer specializing in motivational issues. Donna, how important is it to make the task clear and doable?
It's absolutely the basic, the place to start. If you don't know how to do something, if you don't know what it is you're supposed to do, how can you be motivated to do it? That has to be utterly demotivating from the start.
Sometimes you may need to inspire your workers to transcend their limits as Outward Bound teaches. Our next expert is Clayton Aldifer, a professor of organizational psychology at Rutgers University. Clay, is it a good idea to ask workers to stretch their abilities?
Asking somebody to do a hard job, something that other people have been unable to do or have had difficulty with, can sometimes be a very powerful motivator. The important thing is to be sure that you're telling the truth and not withholding information or not pretending things are some way other than that they really are.
Donna, what about Guideline 2, demonstrating that the task is meaningful? Do you have any thoughts about that?
If the person isn't making a contribution toward the larger goal, why is the task being done? It must have an impact, or why is it being done? And all the manager needs to do is explain why it's being done.
How do we motivate the people on the lower end of the corporate ladder? How do we help a person with a menial job realize that his or her role is important? We turn now to our next expert, Norma Clark, a PhD in social psychology and a vice president for human resources at the Open Software Foundation. Norma, isn't it true that the bottom line is that each task is essential in its own way?
It is not possible for most organizations to function without even the so-called menial work being done. That's important to the larger job. That's important to keeping the organization running smoothly. It is important for the floors to be swept. Else we'll all be walking in trash up to our eyeballs and none of us will be particularly functional. So everything, I think, contributes to setting an overall environment for the organization and to seeing that the total job gets done.
Nonetheless, some employees may still feel that their jobs are dull and meaningless. Clay, how should a manager respond to an employee who feels this way?
Well, I think it's important to listen well to why the person feels the activities not meaningful, meaningless. And often there's some kind of that has to do with boredom underneath that. And boredom is often a cover emotion for anger. And sometimes that anger is something that you and the employee or you and the person can do something about, which case I think you've turned around a situation that's important to the person and to the organization.
Now let's take a brief detour to learn a bit about motivational theory. Psychologist Abraham Maslow explained motivation as a hierarchy of 5 basic needs. He believed that people satisfy their wants or desires in this order. 1, physiological, the basic needs for survival, food, drink, clothing, shelter, and the like. 2, safety, security, stability, and structure. 3, belongingness and love, significant relationships with other people. 4, esteem, self-respect, and respect from others. And 5, self-actualization, becoming all one is capable of being. Maslow believed that people are motivated by their lowest unmet need. For example, a man who is starving struggles to find food long before he even thinks about gaining self-respect. Let's turn to the experts for some analysis of Maslow's theory.
One occasion when the Maslow hierarchy is very important and very applicable is when a person's performance starts to drop. And then a manager can key in and think, okay, what's going on right now? This person is falling down the scale. Why? What's the need that isn't being met by what's going on in the organization now?
When in doubt, try to determine which level the employee is stuck on. Perhaps you can find out what the problem is. There may be hurdles you can remove. How's this for a job description? All you have to do is invent new and useful products and make them big hits in the marketplace. That's the challenge faced by the Shaw Bell Corporation every day. This company illustrates our next 2 guidelines.
Make the task a vehicle for personal growth. Employees need opportunities to acquire new knowledge and skills. Empower employees to perform on their own to the best of their ability. That means giving them control over their own tasks and the freedom to determine how they'll meet their goals.
Here's how it's done.
For busy women who need to curl their hair on the run, or for outdoor do-it-yourselfers who use a glue gun, or a soldering iron in places where there are no electric outlets nearby, Thermocell is the answer, a cordless butane cartridge, so-called portable heat. Here's another idea, a hands-free water flow control device. The man behind these products is Bill Schaubel, a walking mini conglomerate. In 10 years, he has started 27 businesses. He believes that the best way to manage his diverse array of engineers and inventors is to get out of their way.
As a conscious decision, we give them total autonomy. They have goals and results to reach, and how they get there really is their own business.
Case in point, Carl Winkler. Trained as an electrical engineer, Carl loves to tinker and has risen from technician to lab manager.
Whatever I feel would be something worth trying, they allow me to do. So if I want to try something new in the lab, or if I want to try something different, they say, sure, go ahead. It might get shut down, it might not work, but it is the fact that you have the ability to try.
At other jobs, he was unable to express his opinions so freely.
I have never felt a time when I couldn't go up to him and say, hey, Bill, what's going on with this? Or how is this going to affect me? He does listen to what you're saying, even if it might seem slightly off the wall. At least he is, giving you the ear.
Carl has developed his skills at the company, learning computer design, for instance, from scratch. He has also learned about manufacturing, even trying his hand at some inventions. Bill was pleasantly surprised to discover that Carl took the initiative to build a model for a new heating pad using the thermocell technology.
We're a creative organization. In order to create, you can't be totally disciplined. You've got to say, okay, here's an environment. I want to get somewhere. Help me get there. Try some different ideas. If those ideas don't work, that isn't your fault. You've tried it. Now, let's try some other ideas.
Bill has made a concerted effort to empower Carl, yet ironically, empowerment is a term Carl does not like.
It sounds very, imperialistic, No one is empowering me to do anything. They're giving me the license, or they're allowing me. It is not a, this golden staff that they're presenting me. You have now the power to make your own decisions. I think that that's inappropriate.
He emphasizes that his department is a team.
When you say that someone is empowered to do something, I think you get away from what I talked to you about before, is more of a team feeling. The engineering department is a team. We all work on different things at different times, but still it's a team effort.
And a very successful one at that. The products are sold through brand name companies like Black & Decker and Clairol, and Schaubel's sales are in the tens of millions of dollars. So Bill's philosophy obviously works. At least Carl thinks so. He has been with the company for 3 years, and
I can see myself being here 5 years from now, which is something that I've had previous jobs that, I would be putting resumes out after the first month of being there, just knowing it's not the type of position that I want to be in.
What's the secret to the company's success? Here's how Bill views himself.
A gray beard. I see myself pretty much as a person who's created an environment where people can create and develop and move forward such that we all can win.
Like Carl Winkler, many of today's employees are so-called self-developers, a term coined by author Michael Maccabee. They expect to have a say in choosing their own tasks, and they want continual opportunities for improvement. The operative word is more. Some are more demanding, perhaps more selfish than previous generations, and they're more apt to job hop. They want more out of their lives and their careers, and more out of you as a manager. Here's how to handle them.
First and foremost, provide opportunities to learn. As our guideline states, make the task a vehicle for personal growth. That means giving employees the opportunity to develop their skills and talents. For example, at Schaubel, Carl Winkler thrives in an environment that allows him to acquire new knowledge in both computer design and manufacturing. Secondly, give them a measure of control over their own work. As our guideline states, empower employees to perform on their own to the best of their ability. Let's ask our experts about the concept of empowerment.
Donna, we heard Carl Winkler say that he didn't like the term empowerment. Is the concept valid?
Empowerment is simply giving an individual the opportunity to do the task the way they want to do it to the best of their ability, taking and letting them use their ideas, rather than simply following by rote what someone else has set out to do. It's what gives them the opportunity to innovate, to be creative, and to make the job exciting for themselves.
As a manager, it's okay to feel a bit uneasy about the empowerment process, but you must realize that granting greater power to your employees will not undermine your own authority. On the contrary, more autonomous workers are more creative, and they will make your department function more effectively, so everyone can win. Our next segment profiles the Bass Shoe Company. They treat employees with a great deal of respect, and in so doing illustrate all of our guidelines. Let's take a moment to review. 1. Make the task clear and doable. 2. Demonstrate that the task is meaningful. 3. Make the task a vehicle for personal growth. And 4. Empower workers to perform on their own. Bass also embodies our 5th guideline. Recognize, reward, and show appreciation in a way that is most meaningful to each individual.
After just 1 year of service, Kevin Dingy is already a seasoned veteran at 26. He's a fast-track store manager for Bass Shoes, and his ambition is spurred by recognition, not money.
I'm personally motivated on feedback, on attention, on feeling important, and believing that what I'm doing in the stores is going to just ready me for my next level, and to make me feel like, hey, you know, I'm not just here every day, you know, in my job to straighten shoes, to help customers. You know, I'm actually part of a business.
Flow's perfect.
Very good.
I like it. What do you think?
Very good.
Good job.
His boss is District Manager Angela Bryan, who does her best to make him feel that he plays a unique role among 2,200 employees in the retail division. The key is to recognize, reward, and show appreciation in a way that is most meaningful.
I know that personally, if I'm part of the decision-making and part of the answer, then I'm going to complete a task with a lot more enthusiasm than if somebody says, I would like you to do this and this is how I want you to do it, it needs to be done by next week.
Bass Management lets the workers know that their opinions count. They have frequent focus group sessions, really brainstorming programs where ideas are bandied about. Yet this is not just an exercise. When good ideas emerge, they are implemented and communicated in memos stamped FYI, standing for From Your Input.
And they truly ask and dig and probe about all the things that these people in the field face day after day, and based on the feedback that they get from that, they actually do things. A lot of companies will ask your opinion and then thank you very much, and then things go on day after day after day. We're made part of the decision-making process, which makes us feel a lot more accountable for the results.
Bass has a different way of looking at the bottom line as far as the managers are concerned. They are responsible only for what they can affect directly.
Coming from other retailers, I'm used to being held accountable for things that I can't control, being business when the weather is really bad, or we're in a location that is just absolutely horrible, or if I didn't have the right stock that I needed to do business. At Bass, it was put to me very, very clearly to focus and concentrate on the things that I can control, and I'm not held accountable or expected to use a lot of energies in trying to fix or affect things that aren't within my control.
Kevin says that attitude makes his life a lot easier. Besides, he knows a promotion is likely. At Bass, 80% of the managers come from within. It all begins with recognition. In Kevin's case, a 3-day training session is a good sign.
I felt that was a great sense of security. If they felt strongly enough to invest that time and the money to have me involved in that, they really valued my opinion.
Kevin benefits from a corporate structure that empowers him, and he extends the same recognition to the people below him in the hierarchy. Sometimes Bass rewards employees in the form of a bonus, or a lobster dinner, or baskets of candy, or a simple thank you. Sales associate Kyle Marinko explains.
Anytime I get anything done, there's always a thank you, which is pretty surprising because I've worked at other companies and, you know, they say do this, do that, and you do it, and they don't say anything about it. The biggest motivation is just having them show confidence in me and in my abilities.
Sometimes an informal contest is a motivating tool.
Well, we have these kind of like little goals at the end of each week where we want to succeed. You know, we kind of play little games, you know, see who can get as many shoes sold in a week.
For Kevin, empowering the salespeople is a unique challenge.
If they're part of this team, I make them feel that they are a great deal. Once that door opens, they are part of this team.
There's a very simple lesson that emerges from this segment, and that is the importance of the two words, thank you. Donna, we can't emphasize this enough, can we?
I've spoken to so many managers who say, why should I say thank you for just doing your job? I absolutely don't understand that. We've all been brought up to follow the basic courtesies. And what happens is that if I perform a task and nobody says thank you, I've been brought up to expect thank yous. If I don't get it, I assume that that task is not appreciated. And if the task isn't appreciated, it must not be important. If it's not important, why should I do it?
In the Bass story, you heard some techniques for rewarding and recognizing, one of the key guidelines for motivating others. Our personal action plan will offer you some concrete tips in this area. The first step is to choose a person or work team deserving a show of your appreciation. Then, step 2, decide what type of reward and recognition would be most appropriate. Here, you should take personality differences into account. Donna, how important is this? Can you give us an example?
I may be a manager, I may walk into a bullpen and say, Susan, thank you very much for getting all that work done yesterday. That's exactly what I needed, and if everybody here would do it that way, we'd be number one in our industry. And I, Susan, may bask in that attention and glow and do 4 times as much work tomorrow. On the other hand, the manager may come in and do the same thing for Sarah, who will be embarrassed, mortified, afraid that the other people, that the co-workers won't like her anymore if she's singled out that way. So for Sarah, it might work better to do a private letter.
The third step is to reward and recognize. And when you do, be specific. Let employees know exactly what they are being praised for. And be timely. Don't wait too long. Your reward will mean more if it follows on the heels of the achievement. As a general rule, bear in mind that motivation requires management. Never take your employees' hard work for granted and never lose sight of their need for inspiration. Norma, what's the central message here?
That it's necessary to motivate, that it cannot be left to chance, that it can't be left to just happen by itself. The motivation is one of those key management skills which managers need to learn about. They need to develop some sort of theory to guide how they shape their approach to motivation, and they need to apply the principles, and they need to continue to apply them, because that's the way in which you work best with people, and that's the way in which you increase the fit between the people in the organization, and you cause people to be more productive. The ultimate aim, obviously, is greater productivity.
Remember why people work in the first place. The quick answer is to make money and to have fun. But it's really all about self-esteem. If you can help your employees feel good about themselves, they'll be willing to contribute that extra effort. I'm Amalia Barreda for the American Management Association.
International Video Network brings you the greatest adventures in video entertainment. Award-winning documentaries from Reader's Digest, exploring the masterworks of man and nature. Travel planning videos from Fodors, revealing looks at the people, places, and cultures of the world. Rand McNally Video Expeditions, taking you to some of the most remote and dangerous places on Earth. Rand McNally Video Travelers, whirlwind tours you can enjoy from the comfort of your living room. Super Cities, celebrating the best-loved cities of the world. And Video Visits, whisking you away to exotic, romantic, and popular destinations. International Video Network. Great adventures in video. See your local video retailer or call International Video Network at 1-800-6